Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. So today's video is going to be part 2 of my eyeshadow decluttering, and this one is going to be all of my palettes of eyeshadows that are either 6 or bigger. I do have one eyeshadow palette that has 5 eyeshadows, but I'm counting it in this video because it's very expensive nonetheless. I actually have one that's 4, but anyways. These are the rest of my eyeshadows that I didn't do in part 1 basically. And honestly, this video is going to be mostly a collection video because I love my eyeshadow palettes and I'm probably not going to get rid of the majority of them. But I do have a couple that I'm going to be getting rid of though. So these aren't all of my palettes. I have a ton more palettes, but this is just kind of like the first round that I could fit in the frame. And I am keeping every single one of these that you're seeing right here. So of course, as you can probably notice, is I have all of the Naked palettes from Urban Decay, including the new Urban Decay Naked Heat palette. As of filming this video, I haven't tried this out yet, but I am very, very excited to. When I heard that this was coming out, I got very excited. The quality seems really nice, and the eyeshadows look gorgeous. Like, even though they are warm-toned, they look like they would fit a variety of different skin tones because they are warm-toned and warmer eyeshadows, but I feel like the tone is a little bit more neutral. So very excited to try that out. So yeah, I have all of the Naked palettes. They are kind of like my pride and joy. I collect them all, and I just feel like the Urban Decay formula is really trustworthy in my opinion. So, and I feel like I can just trust these eyeshadow palettes for great quality, great eyeshadow looks. I love them and collect them. So I am definitely keeping all of them because I am crazy and I really do like all of them for different reasons. And then of course down here I have my Urban Decay Naked Basics palette. This is what I am doing for my Pan That palette this year. So I am currently panning this eyeshadow palette. I will have a card up in the corner either of my last update or my playlist of all of my updates for my Pan That palette. I really do enjoy this palette a lot, but I would love to try the Naked Basics too, but I have too many eyeshadows, so I don't need it right now, but I really do like it and I'm enjoying panning it so far. And then next here in this side, I have all of my Lorac palettes plus a Too Faced there at the bottom. But this is the Lorac Mega Pro. I literally just got this in the mail yesterday as of the day that I'm filming this, and I've been wanting this palette for so long. And to be quite honest, I did get this used, so I wasn't super excited to get it, seeing how used it was. But honestly, I do not care. I didn't get it for, I mean, it was expensive. I got it for around $60. But in terms of getting this palette, that is pretty cheap. It sells for hundreds of dollars on eBay and Poshmark and the like. So I'm very excited to get this palette. It just looks glorious. It's definitely a lot smaller in person than I thought it would be, but I also love the maroons, the maroon packaging, and I just love the colors in this palette more than any of the other Mega Pro palettes. I honestly just wish they brought this one back because it was so hard to get when it first came out. But I'm glad I have it now, and even though it's used, there's still plenty of product left, and I'm very excited to try some looks from this palette because it looks gorgeous. And then next here is the Lorac Pro palette. I love this palette so much. I am honestly so shocked I don't have any of the other Lorac Pro palettes because I really do enjoy this formula, and I love the layout of these palettes. I love how there's a row of matte and a row of shimmer. If anyone recommends to me like what kind of eyeshadow palette to get, I always recommend this one because I just feel like it has everything you need. I love the Naked palettes, but I just feel like this has, if you don't have any other eyeshadows to begin with, I feel like you could use just this eyeshadow palette and be just fine. I love the formula of these eyeshadows. I love the slim packaging. I really, really like this, and I would love to get the other Pro palettes. Like, I think the Pro 2 looks really nice. Maybe the Pro 3, I'm not sure, but definitely the Pro 2, just not now because I have been getting so many eyeshadow palettes recently, but I really, really do like this formula, and this is one of my favorite palettes of all time. And then the last Lorac palette I have here is the Unzipped palette, and this is just their regular eyeshadow formula. This is not the Pro eyeshadow formula, but I really do enjoy this eyeshadow palette a lot. I love the rose gold in here. If you don't know, I do love rose gold things like jewelry and some makeup, not all makeup, but basically anything eyeshadow or eyes. I love rose gold, so this palette totally speaks to me. I really do like the shades in here, and I feel like you can pull off some great looks with this palette, and it's really nice quality. So I'm definitely going to be keeping this one. And then the last one in here is my only Too Faced palette, and this is the original Chocolate Bar palette. Now this is the newest version, which is with the slimmer packaging and the names written on the packaging. And to be quite honest, I am not the biggest fan of this eyeshadow palette. I think the formula, it's just not as good as Lorac or Urban Decay or Kat Von D in my opinion. It's just not that great. I think the colors are really great. I like the setup, and I like the unique colors that they include in here for a neutral eyeshadow palette. But I just feel like some of the formulas in this particular palette, at least, I just am not a fan of. So that's the reason why this is the only Too Faced palette I have, because if this is like their cream of the crop, I'm not a big fan of their formula. I mean, I would be happy to try some other palettes, the matte one and then the neutral eyes one that are in those smaller palettes. Those look really nice, but this is the only one I have, and I am going to be keeping it because I do like the colors in here, and it's good for comparison's sake, but it's not my favorite formula, to be quite honest. Alright, so this is my last set of eyeshadow palettes. I know I don't have as many eyeshadow palettes as a lot of people, but honestly, this is a lot of eyeshadow for most people. But anyways, this is kind of the next phase where I will be decluttering some of these, so you'll have to wait to see what they are. But first, let's get on to my Anastasia ones. These are the only ones that I have multiples of in this set. Actually, I have two Kat Von D here, but they're a little bit different. But anyways, let's just start with Anastasia right here at the top. This is a recent addition to my collection. This is the Modern Renaissance palette, and yes, it definitely deserves the hype in my opinion. These shadows are such wonderful quality. They're so buttery, and I love the unique shades in this palette. These definitely, not a lot of these shades are just shades I wouldn't originally go for, but for me, owning so much makeup and owning so many neutral palettes, as you can see with my Urban Decay Naked palettes, I really love how unique this palette is and the reds it includes. And you would think that the reds would make you look tired and sick, but the way that you pair them with these shadows and the way they wear it, they really don't. They're just unique shadows and unique colors. And I am really enjoying this palette. And for a makeup lover who has so many neutral eyeshadows, this is so great and I love it. Now, if this is your very first eyeshadow palette, I feel like it's honestly a little bit of a bad choice because I feel like there are definitely some more out there colors that I feel like wouldn't be everyday appropriate. But if you have a ton of eyeshadows like I do and are obsessed with makeup and just are so sick and tired of like the same old neutral palettes, this palette is for you, and the quality is amazing, so I am definitely keeping this one. And then next here is my other Anastasia palette, and this is the Shadow Couture World Traveler palette. Now this was a limited edition one that came out before Modern Renaissance, and I definitely can tell that in the quality. I just feel like the quality of these eyeshadows are not as good as Modern Renaissance. Now I feel like some of these mattes here, Morocco and Fudge, they're really pigmented, but I just feel like they do not blend very well. Now the only shade that I'm really obsessed with in this palette is Pink Champagne. That shadow is gorgeous. I definitely want to buy a single pan of that eyeshadow because it's stunning. But honestly, I could take or leave the rest of the palette. These two shadows right here, in particular Heirloom and Azure, they do not look that pigmented on the eyes. They literally just look like I'm wearing black, like a faded black eyeshadow on my eyes. Now these two are really pretty. They give a nice like pretty fall look, but I don't know, like some of these shadows are great, but they just, I feel like most of them don't blend very well on my eyes. And then like with these two, I want color with that blue, but it literally looks like it does not look blue in my eyes. So I am going to be actually, I think, selling it on Poshmark. So I will leave my Poshmark link down below. And I usually sell a lot of my makeup on there. So if you see this and if you want to snag it up, go for it. So, because I'm probably going to be selling it, especially since it was limited edition and I still have the box for it and everything. So hopefully I will get around to putting this on the internet somewhere where I can sell it, because I definitely think someone else will appreciate it more than me, especially since it was limited edition. Alright, the next palette here, we'll just keep going along this row. This is the Kat Von D Shade and Light Eye Palette, and guys, this palette is so good. The formula of these eyeshadows are amazing. This is one of my favorite formulas of eyeshadows ever. Like, I love the Urban Decay and I love the Lorac, but these shadows just blend like a dream. And like, these shadows, they look really intense, and yes, they are very pigmented, but I feel like they just blend so effortlessly that they don't look that harsh on your eyes. And I feel like anyone can use a matte eyeshadow palette like this. Like, it has both neutral, cool, and warm toned matte neutral eyeshadows that you can use for any look. You can use these on their own. You can pair them with other shimmer eyeshadows you have, like I definitely do. I love a little pop of shimmer on my lid, but this palette is just amazing. I want to own more Kat Von D eyeshadows because these eyeshadows are incredible and such high quality. I would love to especially try and get the Interstellar palette, even though that's not available anymore. And I know that they're coming out with this palette in a glimmer formula. So instead of all matte, the majority of them are going to be shimmers and glitters, and that looks gorgeous. Now, I don't know if I'll buy that one because I just love this matte one so much, but if you don't own this already, go and get this one because this one is fantastic. It's so good. I cannot rave about it anymore. I love the formula of these eyeshadow palettes. All right, another one that I know I'm going to be keeping is this one. This is from Laura Mercier, and this is the Artist palette. I love the packaging. It's just like a kind of leather packaging. It feels really nice, but these are the eyeshadows that come inside, and they are definitely more of a purple or cool toned shadows in here. There's a couple warms in here, but the quality of these eyeshadows are really great as well. This eyeshadow palette is really expensive, but I definitely feel like the shadows are really worth the money. I don't think they're as good as, for example, the Kat Von D ones. I feel like if you are on the older side or are newer to makeup, I feel like these colors would appeal to you more because a lot of them are mattes or light satins, so I feel like they would look good if you have like hooded eyes or wrinkly eyelids. And I feel like the colors just, they're neutral, but yet there's the hints of purple, which I really like. I feel like it's definitely not most makeup lovers' taste, but if you're new to makeup or if you're kind of on an older person, I know that sounds really wrong, but I know like my mom loves these kind of tones of eyeshadow because they're just a little bit more muted than, like, for example, like the Kat Von D eyeshadow palette. Like, those colors are a little bit more intense and not as muted, where like these ones are a little bit more muted and great for every day with some pops of purple in it. Like, this African Violet is absolutely gorgeous. So I'm definitely going to be keeping this one because I really love the quality, and the packaging just feels so nice and luxurious. All right, so now we're down to these last few. So first here at the top here, I have my BH Cosmetics Carly Bible palette. Now this is a fairly new addition to my collection as well. Now, to be quite honest, since this is BH Cosmetics and it's a little bit cheaper to purchase, I got this for around $14. The quality is just not as fantastic, obviously, as, you know, Urban Decay, Kat Von D. The quality isn't as great as those, but for the price, I feel like the quality is really nice. I feel like you can get some really nice eyeshadow looks with this, and you've got, you know, mattes, shimmers, and then you've got these highlighters down at the bottom here. I do feel like this one, and especially that one and this one, are a little bit too dark for my skin tone, but you could always use those as eyeshadows as well. And I've looked at some tutorials on YouTube, and I've definitely created some nice looks following those tutorials, and I feel like with some of these kind of more like maroon shades, they're great for the fall. So I am going to be keeping this for now, even though the quality isn't my absolute favorite, but for the price, I think it's a really nice palette. And then next here, let's move on to this one. This is a palette from Smashbox, and this is the On the Rocks Photo Op eyeshadow palette. This was from their holiday collection they did, I think, in 2014. Now, I actually have filmed this video before, and I said I was going to be keeping this one because I really love the like emerald and blue colors and the purples. I love the bold colors that come in this because I really don't have any singles of those. But as I've been kind of thinking about it, I really don't use this eyeshadow palette that much. I've maybe swatched it a couple times, worn a couple of the eyeshadows, but honestly, it's just, I just don't use it that much, and I feel like there's someone else that could use it more than me. If I really want to get the emerald or like the blue sapphire color, I can just go out and get singles like that from Makeup Geek, because a lot of the other eyeshadows in this palette are shadows I already own or just don't really appeal to me. Only like these four on the corners here are shadows that like I kind of kept this palette for. So I think I am going to maybe sell this as well on Poshmark, or give it away somewhere to someone, or sell it online. I'm not really sure yet. I still have the box for this and everything, so I'll probably end up selling it, especially since it was limited edition. I think the quality is great. It's not my absolute favorite formula for eyeshadows, but the quality is really nice. I don't use it that much. So, and I have so many other eyeshadows. Why should I keep this one? So I am going to be passing this one along. And then the last two here I am going to be keeping. This is from Kat Von D. This is the Alchemist palette. This is probably one of the most unique products in my collection ever. Like the powders, so if you have not heard of this palette, these four eyeshadows are holographic basically. So this one is the green or emerald one, so they look almost white, but then they shift to different colors. So this one shifts to green, this one shifts to blue, this one is a beautiful purple, and this one shifts to a pink. I feel like this palette is really useful not only as an eyeshadow palette, but as highlighters, or I really love using it over lip colors. It looks really stunning. I use this over a really dark kind of vampy sort of raisin color, and it looked absolutely stunning. So I feel like this is a great palette to kind of transform your look or add a touch of holographic to your makeup look. And I don't have any other palette like this. I would really love to try the Anastasia Moonchild palette, but I don't currently have this. And honestly, I feel like I don't need it because I have this palette and I don't use it that often, but I really love the uniqueness of this palette, and I love kind of the holographic trend that's going on right now, and the packaging. Like, the packaging is so freaking gorgeous, so I'm definitely going to be keeping this one. And then last here I have my Natasha Denona 5-pan palette, and this is in the shade number 2. They have a bunch of different 5-pan eyeshadow palettes like this, and this palette was $48. So for 5 eyeshadows, that's pretty darn expensive, but it's a great way to try Natasha Denona if you've been on the fence about them, because a lot of their eyeshadow palettes that have more eyeshadows in it are in the $100, $200 range. So that's why I wanted to get this palette to really try out the formula. And I've tried this palette a couple times, and to be quite honest, they're not as great as everyone is saying they are. I mean, it's a great formula. The eyeshadows are really nice, but I just feel like for how much they cost and how much a lot of their palettes cost, they're not that amazing. I mean, I would still love to try the Star palette because that one just looks absolutely stunning. The colors in it look great. But as for trying just this one out, I don't love it. I really love that middle shade. This is technically, I think, it's technically a velvet, but it acts as a matte, and that's actually a really gorgeous crease color. But I've been trying like these ones out, and they're gorgeous metallics, but I definitely feel like I have to layer it a little bit to kind of get the color I want. Now, I haven't tried this dark maroon color, but I've pretty much tried all the rest of them, and I like them, but they're definitely not worth the price tag, in my opinion, so far at least. I'd love to try more of their eyeshadows once I have the actual money to spend on them. But just from trying out this palette, the eyeshadow quality is not as great, in my opinion. They're good quality, but they're not as fantastic as everyone is saying it is. That's worth the high price tag. So I just finished my actual palette decluttering video, and I realized I forgot to include this guy. This is the Wet n Wild Comfort Zone eyeshadow palette. I can't believe I forgot to put this in here, but I am definitely going to be keeping this one. I think it was just hidden away somewhere in my drawer, so I couldn't see it and grab it out. It's also a little bit smaller than a lot of my other bigger eyeshadow palettes, so it just kind of got lost. But anyways, I am going to be keeping this one. I thought I would just include this little clip, kind of more vlog style, instead of just kind of setting everything up. So let me guys know if that is okay with you. But anyways, I just wanted to let you know I am keeping this Wet n Wild Comfort Zone eyeshadow palette. It's a great eyeshadow palette from the drugstore and has really awesome quality. So definitely keeping this one. Alright, so these are all of the eyeshadows that I am keeping. There are some I think that are out of frame. So that shows you how many eyeshadow palettes I own. And I am decluttering these 2 eyeshadow palettes. Now, to be quite honest, this is pretty good for me because eyeshadows are kind of my crack in the makeup world, especially eyeshadow palettes. And honestly, I really take the time to research about palettes that I want to purchase. So I am happy with a lot of the palettes I purchase because I've heard good reviews about them and the like. So, you know, I am happy with the ones I'm decluttering, and I'm happy with the ones that I am keeping. I might declutter some in the future, But as of right now, I really like all of the palettes I own, and the ones I'm decluttering, I'm happy to be passing on to someone else. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this decluttering / collection video, and if you guys did, go ahead and click that like button down below. And if you'd like to see some of my future and past decluttering videos, go ahead and click that subscribe button down below, or click my face at this end card right here. I'm also on Twitter and Instagram at BeautyTalkSam. I have the links for those down in the description box down below, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day.